And seeing kids who never been yelled at start crying and breaking down. And I'm like, this is what mom does to me every weekend. You know, it doesn't affect me at all. My name is Joel Ramirez. I served 4 years active duty, about 4 years reserves. I got out active duty corporal, and I got out reserves as a sergeant.
And what years did you serve?
2008, 2012 for active duty, and then reserves I did 2015 to 2019, almost 2020.
And what job did you initially sign up to do?
0311 infantry, the only job I know how to do. Born and raised Salem, Oregon. Pretty much middle of nowhere. Graduation class is 200. Pretty much was living in the middle of nowhere. Cornfields everywhere. This outskirts of Salem. I grew up in small towns like Staten, Turner, Amso. But yeah, just growing up with chickens and stuff. My upbringing, my parents were one of the first Hispanic families, I guess you'd say, to have a Hispanic store in Oregon. One in the area that we were at first, back in the early 90s. Kind of raised in the store half the time, raised at home with my parents. My mom, I love her to death. She was maybe a little overprotective. But also at the same time, if she's watching this, I want to let her know that, even though I give her shit about it, that if it wasn't for her being overprotective, I probably wouldn't be in the military, probably be on the streets with gangs, drugs, all that crazy stuff.
Did you ever get into any kind of trouble or anything growing up?
I remember they were trying to jump a new kid that kind of protected him, and I ended up getting the one getting beat instead. And just because I was a little wannabe cholo back then, I had a knife on me, and they kind of expelled me for that. So because of that, I spent majority of the high school time in alternative school, which kind of helped me a lot because it was more easier, more self-sufficient, more at my own pace, and I was able to graduate with a higher GPA instead of back in middle school and high school, like kind of like not doing too good. Because I used to like bullshit my mom saying that I would get my homework done. In reality, I still want to do my homework, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what inspired me to join the military was my parents, it didn't really inspire me to join the military. It was just like my parents wanted me to do something good in my life, and see how my brother was kind of successful when he joined the Marines. They wanted me to kind of pursue the same steps that he was taking. And one of the steps was my mom was trying to give me to the National Guard to sign up. And I was kind of hesitant to join the military at first because I didn't know better. I had an ignorant mind, small town mind. I always thought if you go join the military, you would go to war and die. That type of mentality. I didn't know there's different jobs and MOSs in the military until I was getting more into looking into it when my mom took me to National Guard recruiter. She wanted me to join National Guard recruiter because I'm more at home. Plus I could be local and stuff, as well as just getting me built up to join to it. But the only thing was my older brother, since he was in the Marines for 8 years, halfway through, he wasn't fond of me talking to National Guard. I remember one time he visited us on leave, and he kind of dragged me out of the band, said I was like, fuck the National Guard, I'm going to join the Marine Corps, which at first I was pretty upset about. You know, I remember freaking not through tantrum, but knocking my shit out of my room, all angry at it. And then the following week, I get called from a recruiter from Marines, and I was like, okay, you know what? Fuck it. I'll just give it a try. And then my brother just took me to the recruiting station, and that's when I ended up signing the papers for that. Even though I already kind of signed up with the National Guard, it wasn't really too much of stone, just more going to MEPS, getting the whole process done. I had to tell my National Guard recruiter, like, that I'm not going to join the National Guard anymore, I'm just going to join the Marine Corps instead. And I know it was kind of a weird situation because I didn't want to, because I was kind of cool with him, and I didn't kind of want to upset him about it. But then later he understood that I was kind of pressured into it, and he still was cool about me joining the Marine Corps and no hard feelings and stuff. I didn't know too much what other jobs were in the military, you know? All we know is what, shooting guns, all that crazy shit. I know my brother was an AP, but I didn't want to join AP route. I was not really anti-cop, but I just, you know, I'd rather do something else, you know? I love cops, you know what I mean? My friends are cops, Blue Lives Matter, so don't get me wrong. But I didn't know what else was out there, you know? So the only thing I knew was just shooting or know their job for shooting and stuff. So, and on top of that, knowing how my parents were kind of pressuring me to join the military when I didn't want to join at first, I decided to just go to 03 infantry. That's why they were going to put me combat engineer. But when I joined the Marine Corps, they had me 0311 infantry just because the recruiter didn't tell me, like, what else is out there, you know? He didn't tell me there's easy jobs, you know? He didn't tell me there's admin. He didn't tell me there's things where you don't do shit. You get promoted quicker and stay on your ass, which I wish I could have done, but live life with no regrets. I'm pretty proud of what I choose 0311 infantry.
What was boot camp like for you?
Boot camp, it was interesting, you know? I didn't take it serious at first, to be honest with you. I ended up being a shitbag, just for a little bit. Well, toward majority, you know what I mean? It's kind of weird, shitbag to sergeant. I was not taking it serious at first, you know? Especially, I kind of feel like growing up in a Hispanic household, they kind of prep you for, if you join the military and you grow up in a Hispanic household, they kind of prep you for it because, you know, our parents whoop our asses and shit discipline-wise, and when you join the military, like, they yell at you, do all that stuff. It's pretty much just them yelling at you, but they can't touch you. So, and seeing kids who never been yelled at start crying and breaking down, and I'm like, this is what mom does to me the other weekend, you know? It doesn't affect me at all. It just kind of was a joke to me, you know? It was funny seeing how people get degraded. It was funny how what names they call me. You know, I couldn't really take it serious. It was more when I was getting more, I think, homesick. I think one time I had a dream that I was stuck at home, and I woke up and turns out I was in the squad bay, and I was like, fuck, it was just a dream, you know? And getting justice from being away from home was just the hardest. Other than that, it wasn't that bad, to be honest, you know? Yeah.
What about the School of Infantry?
SOI, I feel like SOI is still more tougher with the heists. Like, the heists were the most brutal heists ever had, you know, to be real, compared to the ones we had at the fleet. I don't know what other units had for their heists, but for 2-7, the desert wasn't that bad. It was more simple pace, even helping to the field loss. But SOI was just, because I wasn't used to hiking, you know, and I have small, like, little legs, you know, and I remember freaking my feet would be killing me. I'd be dropping out, and I'd be kind of depressed about it because next thing you knew it, I'll be held back for libo, can't go out, I'd be stuck on base because I failed the hike, you know. But eventually later, I built up my legs once I joined the fleet. And SOI, they give you paper like, oh, which unit station you want to get destined to. I think it's all BS, you know. I tried to sign up for Camp Pendleton and hoping for a cool, like, infantry unit out here in Camp Pendleton and be with my brother. Unfortunately, I got to the 29 Palms. And I remember the school instructor was giving us so much shit. They were like, oh, if you think you're giving me so much shit, you think this is bad, wait till you hit the fucking fleet. You're going to be eaten alive. And my first thought, I didn't really take it. Well, I did take it serious, but I didn't understand, like, what worse can this get? You know what I mean? My God, I was fucking wrong, you know? When I hit 2-7. They sent all of us to 2-7, the other half or a quarter, mostly the weapon guys, to North Carolina. I forgot what unit, I think 2-2 or something like that. I could be wrong. And I remember going to 29 Palms. Out of all places, 29 Palms, in the middle of fucking nowhere, where the nearest place to go to is Walmart, 45 minutes away, Yucca Valley or Joshua Tree. I remember getting there, it's all snowy. It was just a weird climate that I never got used to, expecting to be all desert. This is back in December 2008. And as well as when we got there, we didn't have any seniors yet because our seniors from 2-7 were coming back from post-deployment leave from Afghanistan. And it was kind of cool the first couple of weeks because we didn't get, like, we thought the place was gonna be like this, kind of chill and stuff. And boy, we were wrong about that shit too. We're fucking our seniors came back from post-deployment leave. They fucked us up pretty bad, you know what I mean? Some scary shit. I remember they barged into my fucking room. They put a knife to my roommate's throat, threatened to kill him and shit. And they didn't do the knife to me, but they saw I was fucking shaking. I was scared. I remember fucking, I had the shakes. I was like so like nervous and shit. I was like, fuck, what's going to happen to me? You know what I mean? And one of the seniors ended up kicking me out of my own room, and I went downstairs all like sad, not sad, but kind of like scared and nervous. To another buddy's room I went to SOI with, who was a different company, and I crashed in his room. But yeah, dude, it was just kind of like a reality check, you know, like we didn't expect what we were going to expect to us, you know. One of the guys who were hazing us that night, I remember being out when I first got in the Marine Corps, I saw my 24-hour fitness. I go to, I was cool with them, you know, we're cool and shit. And I was like, hey, motherfucker, remember the time you went in our room trying to haze us through, and you put a knife in my roommate's throat, this and that. He like, the first thing he did, he apologized. He goes like, yeah, I'm sorry, man. It's part of tradition. And I was like, okay. But I didn't give a shit, you know, I was really over it, you know what I mean? So maybe who I am today, right?
You mentioned to me that when you got dropped to your unit, the unit was having a problem with suicide.
Yeah, the unit was having a big problem with suicide. And I can see why, because it's just, because our unit 27 got pretty fucked up on gas, and all my seniors got fucked up, you know. Some aren't the same. To this day, like, some are still taking lives, you know, and we're trying hard. Like, I know we have Facebook groups to make sure that we check on each other, make sure we reach out to each other. But sometimes it's hard to get to somebody, you know. Once we have somebody who cries wolf, you know, like, oh, I'm going to do this, do that, depressed, and next thing they're fine, you know. And I'm not gonna lie, there's times where I've been depressed. I didn't say I'll kill myself, but, you know, I post messages where, oh, I'm by my, like holidays, or I'm with the rough time and shit, you know what I mean? And I'll be drinking and shit. But then next morning, I'm like so embarrassed about it. I'm like, fuck, you know. But yeah, our unit had a suicide problem. We had like I remember my armor, he ended up taking his own life, like after 6 months of me being in the fleet and stuff. And sometimes it's unpredictable, you know. You never know your brothers left and right, you know. They're cool as fuck with you, but you never know what they're going through behind closed doors, you know. And sometimes you always got to check on them, make sure everything is good. And I remember even myself too, when I first hit the fleet, I was super depressed too, because of what we're going through and stuff. I even thought about UA one time, and I didn't do it because I did so good at field off, but I was planning on it, and luckily I did it, and that's why I ended up staying in the unit, and I just ended up accepting it. But going back to the whole suicide thing, I always tell everybody, as not revoking your man card and stuff, I always try to make it known to others, like, and I even told my buddies too, like, no revoking my man card at that, but I always tell every brother we come across from the Marines and stuff that I always love them, and they're always going to be loved no matter what, because I feel like that word is never passed on to each other in the way. It's not like you know, like, love me more, like I care about you, you mean a lot to me in my life, brother, you know, that type of stuff. And I think that should be spread mostly amongst each other's, no matter what. You can save someone's life not knowing how much they needed to hear that, you know.
What was making you want to go UA?
It's just be away from home, stuck in 20 Palms. Well, I think 20 Palms is kind of not an answer, but, you know, just being there, just so, like, not just getting hazed. Like, hazing was a big thing too. I feel like I was adapting that as well in the beginning too as well. I remember doing 9 lines and shit. They were coming and they were freaking like punch us in the crotch, or just freaking breaking into our rooms like late night, 3, 4 in the morning, drunk as fuck, waking us up, making us do stupid shit. You know what I mean? But it's just, like I said, it's part of tradition. I'm sure the guy hates worse and stuff, but that right there says I wasn't really, so it was more physical, I guess you would say. And I didn't know. I honestly thought I was going to get like fucked up pretty bad. And I just miss being at home at the moment, and I miss just being free. And I just was getting depressed about it because, you know, all my buddies were getting fucking like the same boat as me, but I just was getting depressed about it because I didn't know how to handle it at first, you know what I mean? I didn't know how to handle it, and I was ready to take my bags off. I was ready to pack my bag and just go leave 1 week and not come back, you know. But I ended up sucking it through, and it was the best decision I made, you know. Like, I'm glad I didn't do that, and I'm glad I stuck it through. Yeah.
So it sounds like eventually you got on track.
Yeah, I got on track. Because it was just like a shock, you know what I mean? Like, especially if you're not used to, especially us like young Marines who just hit the fleet, not used to it, going through a lot of shit, you know what I mean? Being a boot, you know what I mean? It's just like, it sucks, you know what I mean? But everybody goes through it at least one time, you know what I mean? Everybody goes through it. I guess nobody gets free passes and stuff, you know? We have to earn our way up, you know? We got to show that we're stronger. And that way they do it is to make sure that we're just stronger. If we go combat and stuff, they want to make sure that we don't freeze up. We're used to pressure and stuff, and that's what makes sense to me now. You know, it's a shitty way that we get hazed, and some people can't handle it and they drop off. You know what I mean? But it's a way, I guess, for you to handle pressure and get used to some of the shitty stuff of life, or to the suck, I guess you would say, right? Yeah.
Now, did you deploy with your unit?
Yeah. So it's funny because we're supposed to go to, I think, Iraq at first. Yeah, I think to Iraq at first, and it's a weird thing because I believe in God, but there's some religious stuff, so I'm still questioning about it. But it's a weird thing because I remember I told my mom about it, and she went to church and she had a prayer group, and I was weird. She had a prayer group. She told me, she called me one day. She was like, "Mijo, we went to church. I went to church. I prayed for you with with other people at church and stuff to make sure make sure God will be with you or whatever happens." And then next thing we got changed to Afghanistan. And I think she did that shit again. She prayed group, and now we got changed to a MU. You know what I mean? So we got changed to a MU. And I think one of the reasons why they put us at MU because our senior Marines before us got pretty messed up from Afghanistan. That's also what leads to a lot of suicides, in my opinion. And I think that's why they put on MU is because they were like, okay, they got pretty fucked up. It's time to kind of help them out, not give them too much intense stuff like they were before. You know what I mean?
Well, when you say MU, because you could be on a MU and go on a combat MU.
It could go on a combat MU, yes, correct, yeah. But they call it booze cruise, which I can see why it's a booze cruise. You know what I mean? But we went to instead of going to anywhere near combat, we went to Japan, Thailand, Singapore, Philippines, and Australia. And then Japan, Okinawa, and also went to Mount Fuji was pretty awesome. You know what I mean?
Yeah, talk to me about your experience visiting all these different places.
Oh man, dude. So training was awesome. It was so cool to train with people outside the culture, you know what I mean? Being from a small town and stuff, you don't really think what's out there, you know? And you have this ignorant small mind of what's in your small town or that little bubble you're living in, you know? And going outside the country and see how people live and see how people live life, it just changes you. You know what I mean? I was all about this whole brown pride, had to be Hispanic first, raza numero uno, stuff like that. And no, don't be wrong, I'm still about stuff like that, but I'm all about equal with everybody else as well too. You know what I mean? We all go out on struggles no matter what you are. But going to Philippines and Thailand and seeing people just having nothing and being happy with the little things they have and taking care of each other, it just makes me happy for other cultures too, and makes me want to accept everybody too as the way they are. You know what I mean? And then that's just from the other aspect. The other aspect of going on these MUs, getting to little ports, having us spending 2 or 3 months in the field, and then having a couple days to go fucking party and go rage in these little small towns. Not small towns, but Pattaya Beach, Thailand, Subic Bay, Philippines, Australia. It was pretty wild. I remember in Thailand, we have a group of friends, and they see some guy hey, come check this little club bar out, and we go in there and stuff. And next thing you knew, I've seen this lady fucking popping ping pong balls after her little crotch and shit, and motherfuckers out there trying to catch up with the cup. You know what I mean? Or the worst is not worse, but I think it's funny. So it's just interesting. You know what I mean? It's so interesting watching it. I'm like, wow, I can't believe the human body could do shit like that. I see a lady pull razor blades out and stuff, and I'm like, holy shit, you know what I mean? Or I remember watching my friends convince me to hold a balloon over my head. So I hold a balloon over my head, and this lady, she just wearing no bottoms and shit, pure, bare, P word and stuff, you know? Pussy, and fucking I say, who cares? Anyways, puts the blow dart in her crotch, you know what I mean? And I'm holding this shit over my head, and I'm like, I'm gonna get fucking STD if this shit hits my eye, or my eyes gonna get STD, you know what I mean? But I end up holding this shit in my head, and she got good aim. She pops the balloon over my head and stuff, you know what I mean? And I was like, whoa. It was just so mind blowing to see this shit, you know? It's like us dudes shooting ping pong balls on our dicks or some shit, you know what I mean?
Wow.
Yeah. But it was crazy, and just and it's just experiencing different cultures. It was so fun, you know what I mean? There's some crazy parts, for example, we went to the Philippines, and I remember getting off the boat in the Philippines, and you see a Filipino local who has a blue hair, blonde, no, not blue hair, blue eyes, blonde hair, baby, and she's carrying it, and I think she's looking for the father to come off the boat, because I'm assuming someone came by, once they got pregnant, and then she wanted to keep the baby, or just find be re-home to America, because somebody told us that even though they act like prostitutes in the Philippines, and reality it's a bunch of females who will get together or go to Sub A, go over a port the Marines are coming from, or Navy people, or any military, and try and find a next husband. Yeah, unfortunately, it's kind of sad, but yeah, but they say like a lot of females in the Philippines, they will try to look for a husband and hoping they will take him back, which is funny because I remember we go to some random bar or club and you'll see these cornbread motherfuckers from like Bumtuck, Kentucky, middle of nowhere, probably like 40 classmates in their graduation class who's never been around girls, just getting so excited over some chick that like some being around girl stuff, you know, and they're really trying to propose to them or making out with them and stuff on the dance floor. It's so wild, you know what I mean? So Philippines was cool. I remember they give us hazard pay because I guess they have terrorist groups out there. Surprising, there's a terrorist group called MILF, you know, so as ironic the name is, there was definitely no MILFs out there in that terrorist group, all dudes and stuff. So I remember we were in Crow Valley. It's in the middle of nowhere. It's desert and stuff. And there's a lot of native people around their training base, too, that live in huts. They live in huts and stuff. And you'll see dogs. I think some of them have pet dogs, or I don't know if they're wild dogs or part of the neighborhood. It's like Mexico. You see the wild dogs running around and stuff. You know, the one that belonged to somebody. And I remember because I was in Camp Platoon for Weapons Company 27, Cat 1. I remember there was a machine gun range, and I think it was like I don't know what kind of dog, maybe golden retriever, but I don't know if anybody from 27 remembers this stuff. I guess like the dog on the range while they're shooting the machine guns, and I'm sure so they will say it's an accident, but you know when you see something you get a chance to kill and stuff, especially if it's not human, I'm sure some of us would go for it, you know. And I remember hearing about it. I wasn't there for the range because I was standing post. But I remember they brought me back chicken, or I thought it was chicken and stuff. You know what I mean?
Oh wait, well, so what happened? Somebody shot a dog? Or?
Yeah. So pretty much. So what happened was, I guess a dog got on the field, and on the range, and someone shot it, and one of the Filipino Marines was like, well, whatever you hunt, you have to eat it, right? So they ended up picking the dog and made all of us like in our platoon to eat the dog and stuff. You know what I mean? And I remember like I was standing post and. I remember someone giving me that dog. I forget who it was. Give me like I thought it was chicken at first. It tastes like chicken, you know. And then it turns out it was dog, which kind of tastes like chicken. It wasn't that bad. I guess it depends how you cook it, but if you don't think about it, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Wow, man. Any other stories from your view?
I went to Australia. We were drinking, having fun, had a great time. I ended up kind of like sort of blacking out a little bit, and I remember going to. Back to my, I think it's, what's it called? It's not a spa bay, but it's like a birthing area, something like that. You know, where you have like the coffin racks and stuff. I remember I was the top coffin rack, and one of my friends, such an idiot and shit, threw bleach on me, and I wasn't wearing chonies or at least my shorts, and I was drunk, did not realize that. I took my shorts off, and I wasn't wearing anything, so I'm kind of like sort of butt naked on my, okay, not sort of, pretty much was butt naked on my rack, and but I had bleach on me and shit, and I didn't know, so halfway asleep, halfway blacked out. I remember fucking, he got an Axe spray bottle and had a ladder and was like trying to light me on fire. He kind of lit the curtain on fire a little bit and then trying to light me on fire. I know someone has it on video somewhere, and I just wasn't, like, it kind of sort of woke me up, the state I was in from being blacked out, I guess, or too drunk, where I didn't know what, I started swinging. I swing on the wrong person. I swung on my buddy, and then he swung on me back, and I just got out of my brain right butt naked with my little dingling flopping out everywhere and shit. Trying to swing by everybody butt naked and shit, and yeah, I got taken out pretty bad. But yeah, it was wild. They're trying to light me on fire. I tried to fight everybody butt naked, and next thing you knew it, I just woke up all with the fat lip and shit. With at least something covering my private part, you know what I mean? Yeah.
How many deployments did you do?
So I two. It's the first one you, like I said, mentioned earlier, Thailand, Singapore, Philippines, Okinawa was our main area we're at, and then Fuji. Second time was I went to an LAV unit. They were attached to 27 LER, 3 LER, shout out to them. We were, same thing was, we're Okinawa, Japan, Philippines, and Australia for that one. Yeah. And the other half went to North Korea. The other half went not North Korea, South Korea, and the other half went to Australia. And LER experience was pretty badass too.
Now, did you guys ever, while you're on ship, past the equator, did you do that?
Yeah, oh my God, dude, I forgot about that. Good shit, dude. what's the name of it? It was something shellback or something like that, you know?
You go from being a pollywog to a shellback.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. Yeah, and I have a scar on my elbow from it too. Well, I will tell you that in a second, but I remember doing all that. It was just pretty much like, I guess like, you feel like you're Guantanamo Bay getting waterboarded by everybody, every Navy person who got their shell back and stuff. I remember I was the first one to complete it. And since there was nobody was done with theirs, I don't know how I ended up being first. I remember I was taking a shower. I went to my birthday, I had a towel and stuff, and I went to go take a shower, and I came back, and I slipped on water and busted my elbow. I don't have a scar somewhere here. Fuck. I have a scar like on my elbow somewhere. You can probably see it. I can't see it. I don't know. I have a scar from that whole show back yesterday of me slipping on water and busting my elbow butt naked again too. I don't know why shit assume I'm naked and shit, but yeah.
Do you remember some of the stuff you had to do that day to become a shellback?
It was just like a fucking obstacle. I remember it was like you got low curl through water. Motherfucker was hoses trying to hose you down and shit. It felt like a freaking like a Halloween haunted house maze or some shit, you know, but it was water. You know what I mean? I don't remember too much into detail. I just remember it's like a mix of like being a cleric at boot camp and also with water. You know what I mean? And then low crawling your way out, getting wet, all that crazy stuff, you know? Transitioning, it was interesting. You know, I had a big downfall. And, you know, I thought life was gonna be good. I can't wait to get out, you know what I mean? And I remember the first or second month of being out, I was going downhill. I wrecked my car. I got my phone stolen. I was getting lost, and I was by myself in California. You know, I had no friends. I had a buddy I was supposed to see here and there, but that's about it. But it was kind of sort of depressing, you know what I mean? But I still try to manage through it and stuff, you know. And those were like, don't get me wrong, the car. I was supposed to go to the EDC concert. I wrecked my car, and I sold my tickets. So I couldn't do that. I didn't have a car for a while. My cell phone got stolen. So, but I was still moving on, going forward, trying to let it affect me and stuff. But what really affected me was when I went home to visit my parents in Oregon. I went to like a wedding, and I was towards the end of July 2012. And I remember I got super wasted that night. I wanted to go see somebody. I went home to my parents' house, and I remember some chick was starting hitting me up to go see her, and I was pretty wasted, and I actually had parents that want me to drink and drive, which I appreciate them for stopping me. And I just threw a giant tantrum, and I just didn't know how to react to it because I was so angry that I'm out of the military. I can't live my fucking life. I'm getting baby stilled, and I remember I just got out of control that night. You know, I got super out of control. I had a big ego, machismo, you know what I mean? I had so much pride in me to like to feel I was getting controlled and stuff, you know. And I remember freaking, it was so bad my mom had to go to costs because I was saying shit that I was being a man possessed in a way. But it was just the alcohol talking, maybe just from the masculine testosterone buildup from the military that's been holding in for a while. I remember.
Do you remember some of the things you were saying?
Yeah, dude. I kind of, and I'm sorry, Mom, if you see this, you know. And I'm so this is in the past. I'm so glad I was very hatchet with you with this. I was upset that I was angry that my parents didn't let me walk it off because one time I tried to walk it off before the military, I almost got chased. But so my mom had a fear that someone's going to chase me down the street, and just I don't know, try to kidnap me. I don't know, or just attack me, which almost happened to me. And but for me, I always can handle stuff myself because like I used to love fighting back then. I was a big into fighting and all that stuff. Like street fighting, though. It's not like the bar fights, all that stuff too, you know. But I remember freaking, I said some shit to my mom that I wasn't proud of, you know. I mean, when she didn't let me walk and shit, I was so angry and I just cussed her out. And I remember trying to say, oh, I remember her calling the cops, and I was so upset she called the cops. I'm all shaky about it. I remember I was getting upset that she called the cops on me and stuff, and it sucks that the police station is like literally like down the street from me. So cops show up in my place within a few minutes, and I got tased. I got tased, busted. So I had so much adrenaline through my head. I remember, and I was a big buff dude too. Like I was so huge and shit. I remember getting tased, and I felt like Eddie had felt me. I remember getting tased, and it was like slow motion too. You know what I mean? Well, first of all, let me do this part first. I was so upset what happened to me, and all that shit, especially car car getting especially car getting wrecked, all that shit, and my phone getting stolen, all that stuff. I think all that shit and being lonely and all the pressure, I being on my own side, it just fucking hit me at once on top of this drug thing, where I just wanted to. I was ready to take my life that night, you know what I mean? And I'm sorry for if I see this shit. I was trying to plan to take myself out through a suicide through a cop. It was a female cop had a taser out, and I remember thought she had a gun, you know, and I had my shirt off too, and I was like, shoot me in the fucking head, you fucking bitch, you know what I mean? Like, say all this crazy nonsense that I would never say to this day. And I remember getting tased, and it was like, oh shit, it's not a bullet. But I remember getting tased, but also it was like so slow motion. You're gonna fight, it's like slow motion, all adrenaline. But when I got tased, it just like vibrated. Like I was like in my head, like what the hell is like taste feels like, you know, getting feel like. And to the point where the cops started tasing it again from the back. And then I remember like locking up and going sideways and shit. But I remember they put handcuffs on me. I remember the one that put a freaking knee in my ear and ripped my other earring off. This is where I wear fake earrings now because the expensive ones, they always get lost from stupid things like that. And I remember getting arrested that night, going to jail. Going in jail and stuff, and they had to put me into like a holding cell because I was so out of control. You know, they couldn't control me. I was trying to fight everybody. I was trying to fight all the cops, all that stuff. And and because of that, I hit really rock bottom. I hit like super downhill. I was stuck in a hole of depression. They put me straight into this small room. You know, it was like I feel like I was solitary confinement, but there's light. It was super small and by myself. And I just remember storming up in there, and I'm like, "What the fuck am I doing?" You know. I remember getting on my knees and I'm praying to God, crying like, "I hope to God never go like this ever again." You know, I need to get my life together and shit. And I was just like, I couldn't believe what I did. I couldn't believe what happened. You know, and I remember Mom bailing me out that night. You know, to get out. Even though she called the cops and And I remember going to court hearing. I had to get like attorney. I had to be stuck in Oregon for like another month, and I was ready to go back to California because I was over it. You know what I mean? And I remember one of the things that we did for court was I had to go get like a counseling program for not just my hangover, but because I guess I was drinking because I was drunk that night. You know, they charged me for like assault 4 and if it was police report and something else I don't remember. Criminal mission. I don't remember what it was. It was something stupid. And I remember like I had to go to come back to California, go to VA, go get help, and then and do like a course for a year of make sure that I'm good and have a doctor sign off on it. You know, make sure like, oh, my anger is good. Because I used to have a big short fuse back then, and that I wasn't drinking or anything like that for a year. You know, which I did. I did that program, and I had a doctor who helped me so much, Dr. Bandek. Hope he's still here. Hope he sees this too. He means a lot. Thank you for that. Anyway, so I completed the program stuff, and it was a year, you know. It was a year I gave myself back up again. You know, it was tough getting out of the deep hole. I remember coming back home, and I was depressed. I was super depressed as hell. I couldn't fall asleep at night. And I had to go to VA and get help to join that program at first. And I remember every time I come so late because I'll fall asleep. I'll fall asleep super late, wake up super late, and the lady was like, "Oh, you need to come a little bit earlier." And even though I've been trying to go in earlier days before, I was like, I broke down on the floor and I got on my knees and started crying to her. And I was like, I need help. You know what I mean? I can't do this no more. Like, I'm not on the verge of killing myself, but I had those, like, I didn't want to live life the way I was living. And I felt so unforgiving from my family at first, you know? And I remember they had to keep me in the VA for a couple of days, you know, for about a week. Took away my shoelaces, took away my belt. Anything, you know, not suicide watch, but I'm sure it's like a procedure. There's a lot of veterans who check themselves in the VA for a while. Just until I get into that program for getting help for my anger and like the court recommended alcohol class, you know what I mean? Yeah, and it was tough at first, you know, I was depressed. And I remember every night I will freaking walk to the gym thinking about myself, or just I'll take walks by myself because I didn't have any friends until I met my neighbors, became super close friends with them, which I love them to this day so much. Beverly Entourage, I always call them. But I remember just and it took me a while to just get over that shit. And a year, like once I completed the course and stuff, I remember I thought it was over. I thought I'm ready to move back on my life again. I was ready to get back on my feet, you know. And I remember freaking me and my mom were on a three-way call because she lives in Oregon, and I had to fax me a paper signed by Dr. Benedict that completed the courses. And when I called the courthouse, they gave us a number, and we faxed it. We thought it was over, you know what I mean? A couple days later, my mom called me freaking out. I was like, hey, you got a warrant now. I'm like, a warrant? Like, what do you mean? I'm back to my normal life again. Like, I completed what they want me to complete for court. Like, what do you mean I have a warrant? You know what I mean? I thought everything's over. And it turns out when we called the clerk, he gave us the wrong fax house number because Marion County and Salem is within Marion County. And instead of giving us the county courthouse number, he gives us the city of Salem courthouse number. And he gave us the wrong number, and because of that, they gave me the warrant because the Marion County courthouse didn't receive it. And I was so like, I didn't know how to handle it, you know what I mean? But I can't live my life. I was like, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna pay here in California until I went home to Oregon to visit family. And I remember driving down the street and stuff, and I'm getting pulled over. And I remember I saw the cops kind of turn around and chase my car, but then like pursue me, but I saw him kind of turn around and went after me, sort of. But I pulled in my cousin's driveway, and I was like, fuck, dude, I gotta hide it here, sort of, you know what I mean? And it turns out this idiot had a restorer against his chick who they're living together with at the moment, fucking idiots. And he was trying to die for me and stuff. And in reality, I was like, no, I don't want to get him in trouble either because this isn't my responsibility, my fault. So I was like, I told my cousin, I was like, you know what? Let me this is me. I'm gonna handle this shit, and I'll give myself up, you know what I mean? Because it's not worth for other people to get in trouble for something that they have nothing to do with, you know? Because of that, they locked me up for almost like a week and a half, almost 2 weeks at Marion County with no bail, which sucked ass, you know what I mean? Especially when you know you did everything right, you did the right thing, you're stuck there, and you're still getting punished, you know what I mean? It was the most shittiest feeling ever, especially like after I prayed, all that stuff, and yeah, I just get bored in there, and it sucked, you know. And the way they treated my court case and stuff, I was able during the hearing to explain how I was able to get that shit completed by doing the recommended mandatory alcohol classes, stuff they want me to do. And they're like, okay, we're here to recording stuff. Because I said that, and I was pretty confident in what I said, I was able to beat my own case of that shit, you know. I was able to beat my own case, drop it. And because of that's the reason why I ended up going to paralegal school to become a paralegal, because I eventually one day will help other veterans not go through the same path that I have, but also if they go through bullshit what I had to deal with, even though it's not their fault, or after they thought they're good to go, I want to help them out too, you know, probably get a law eventually one day. Yeah, I think what I learned about myself and why I was depressed is, and I think a lot of military vets can relate to this, is because when you get on the Marine Corps, I know we don't want to get the fuck out. We're so excited for freedom. But the brotherhood that we have with our friends and shit that we have in there, like, that's pretty depressing, because when you go through shit, they're not there for you. They're like 100 miles away. You want a phone call away, but sometimes people get caught up in their own lives and call you back, or basically making their own families, as well as just thinking how life is gonna be better instead of reality ended up being shit. You know what I mean? And what the incident I did, that like getting arrested from my family, trying to kill myself in front of them and stuff, you know, and it just, I feel like I was unforgiven for a minute. I carried like the weight of being unforgiven because I just showed my ass in front of everybody, you know what I mean? And it's like, I just got in the military. I just should be proud of me, you know what I mean? And all that. And I'm over here fucking getting arrested for that, trying to do something stupid for them, take my own life and all that stuff, you know? And it put me in a deep depressed hole, or dark depression of hole, or I don't know if I can reword it, some type of hole, not, you know what I mean? It's like a deep, dark hole of depression. There we go. It put me in that state for a while, and just trying to get out of that hole, and just freaking, and just being lonely out here in California, making a move of my own, not going back home where I have friends and family, but being out here and starting my own life and starting all over again. It was another setback too, you know what I mean? But eventually it takes time for all the pieces to get together and find friends and go where you're at, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I mean, you make a good point, because military, you're never alone. You wake up with somebody, go to sleep with somebody.
Right.
there's always an agenda for the day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, and on top of that, it's like if the whole unit is getting punched for some shit and you're not getting shit on, your buddies left and right get shit on too with you. You know what I mean? You guys all like make a bond brotherhood of getting shit on and all that shit, and we're going through the military. You know what I mean? Yeah, dude. Yeah, that's a big thing. Like your battle buddies will be number one. You know, and that's why I always get excited when I see vets out in public. I'm you're like, I remember being out like, oh, you're in the Marines too. I was in the Marines too. You know, because he's like, oh shit, I can relate with somebody. And even with other people, other vets to this day, like other civilians will never understand what we go through or how we connect with other vets, you know? I remember some being around civilians and they will kind of look at us weird from the other vets, or they're like, you guys are too much or shit like that. But you already just became best friends with like 5 minutes ago are the ones connecting with your dark humor, your alcoholism, your jokes, all that crazy shit, you know what I mean? The machismo, testosterone, all that crazy shit, you know? But yeah, it's just something that, it's like, I guess the way to say it too is also, it's like when you go on the real road shit, it's something you want to look out there. It's something you're trying to find. You're trying to find that brotherhood, that camaraderie again, you know? That's why, like now, like I always encourage other vets to do something. For example, I'm trying to train for pro wrestling, lucha libre, which is something I love a lot, you know what I mean? Grew up as a childhood dream. My heroes weren't cartoon or Marvel or DC or none of that. My heroes were just pro wrestlers like Stone Cold, The Rock, Hulk Hogan. And it's like you hear like that, going back to the veteran thing, like you hear like the meme where it's like when you hear like another you're at a bar and you hear like other guy like, oh, it was a Marine Corps Army, and you're like Hulk Hogan in one of these, you know what I mean? But it's just I always want to do it after the military. And I told like I have some couple Marines like I remember they were there in the career advisory guy. I asked him, what do you want to do? And I remember I was like, oh, I want to be a pro wrestler and go to pro wrestling school, you know what I mean? But just because of that whole setback, being out of the military, that kind of set it back a lot, you know what I mean? I didn't have time to do anything like that. And just being being in the corporate role, then the older I get to, the more I'm getting like too old. I'm like, I need to pursue a childhood dream, you know what I mean? And that's why I got to pro wrestling, because I think I want to do this shit before I get too old and not able to do it. You know, I really wasted my 20s not trying to not getting into it. Now I got my 30s, let me fully get involved into it. You know what I mean? And there's my trainer, Little Cholo. He's a guy's cool as hell. You know what I mean? And the Lucha homies, they're like from the MTV Lucha Underground. You know what I mean? There's some good trainers, mentors, and they're like a family. I swear, like they're one of the closest things other than military that I have like the camaraderie brotherhood with. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Nice. Well, we're gonna get ready to wrap it up.
Okay.
Any last words?
Yes. One thing I do want to mention is to all fellow veterans is mental health is number one. You know what I mean? They're always tell, dude, like don't think you're too much of a man to give a call to your buddy and this and that. You know, like if you're going through shit, call somebody. You know what I mean? Call somebody. I know during pandemic I had a terrible breakdown, kind of, you know, and I had like someone who was there at the moment who helped me a lot. Told me that either it gave me ultimatum if either I do therapy or the relationship is over. And especially during pandemic, where are you gonna go? You have nowhere to go by yourself, you know. And I discovered a C Cohen program. You know, at first I didn't want to do therapy because I didn't think, I was like, I didn't need somebody telling me what my feelings are and stuff. And then when I got through therapy, it was the best fucking thing ever. Best thing ever. I still do it every other week, you know. Even my therapy session is super short because nothing to talk about, just how happy I am, you know. And it feels good because you start learning more about yourself that way too. You know, you learn more about yourself, as well as they're very, like, they want to help veterans like us too. Steve Cohen program, it's a good program. You guys should look into it. I think her name was Hannah, that helped me out and saved my life too, as well from other breakdown I had from the pandemic. And as well as it's like, who gives a fuck about the machismo shit, all that stuff, the man card. Just do what makes you feel better as well too. You know what I mean? Do whatever makes you feel great, what makes you happy, keep it going, you know. So if you get depressed and stuff, like start rethinking, like, why am I depressed? Another good example is like people who are stuck in small towns. They never leave their small towns. They're stuck there. Go fuck be in a small town. Go outside, travel the fucking world. Maybe discover a new girl. If you stuck with a toxic dead end girlfriend and shit, what, and you think that's the only thing for you because you have kids? No, dude. Go out there. Just explore more out there. It's not the end of the road. Make yourself happy. Your mental health awareness is number one. And one last thing that when they know, if I love all my fellow brothers, military, Marine Corps, Army, even my civilian friends, everybody. You know what I mean? It's not I would call it. It's not gonna revoke your man card if you tell your friends you love them left and right. I always tell all my friends, military vets, all my brothers, I still love them today, even regular friends, you know, to make sure that they know that somebody cares for them and all that stuff. And another good thing, the last advice I want to give to you before we end this is find a good group of friends that you stick with too. For example, my best friends, 2 of them are attorneys, one is a flight pilot and stuff, and they've helped me so much. It helped me grow to a better person as well. You know, when you start hanging out people who are successful, it makes you want to do better for yourself too and be on their level. And then you build a family bond with them too. That's another like group of people who have good camaraderie. Then, and my first neighbors, the Beverly Entourage on Long Beach, and I love all you guys and everybody. I love my family as well too. So big shout out to all you guys and check out Urban Valor. This is a good thing for you guys.
Thanks, well, I appreciate you being here, brother.
I appreciate my thank you. Appreciate it.
Push it to the limit, I can't go no more. Red light, no